Hey, this is Eddie Olczyk. You're listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mac, and Harrison.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 130 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes. I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Nick Manella. What's going on, buddy?
Going on, man? We are coming up all Colorado over here. Got the Avs jersey on, got the Rockies on the can. Can is now open, which means Rockies have been activated. So fair warning, should be a good one. I'm pumped.
It's a battle of the natural disasters. You can't get enough of it. And then we're going to toss it across the screen to my co-host up in Milwaukee. We got Mac Vogel. What's up?
Testing. Is this thing on? Oh, baby.
Heard it that time. There you go. Wonderful.
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good in the Dairyland over here. We're just ready for a Fun Cup final. I kind of wish, honestly, I've been seeing all this like, oh, it should have been us stuff from the Leafs. And I kind of wish we had like a Leafs Colorado final. That would have been sick, but
it would have been cool. But like
they lost
didn't they need to make it through like 3 more rounds to make it here?
Well, I think it's just them kind of commenting on how soft the Florida Panthers and the New York Rangers apparently were. That's not my words. That's Leafs fans' words.
Leafs Nation. Yeah.
And yeah, they're like, oh, we would have steamrolled those teams, which, maybe they would have, but we'll never know. Because
it's a good coping strategy. I mean, the coulda, woulda, shoulda game.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, then the Leafs would be in the Cup final, but they're not. So
that's a hell of a saying there. I think they're taking a lot of pride in that. Tampa's won their last 11 series in a row, and they've only gone to 2 Game 7s. One of them is the Strong Islanders, and the other one is butts and nuts for candies and nuts.
Yeah.
So
anyway, let's get into it, huh?
Yeah, we got the Stanley Cup final here coming down the pipe in about 2 days. We're recording this on Monday, June 13th. We got game 1 on Wednesday, I believe, June 15th on ESPN. Bummer. But yeah, we're going to preview the series coming up here. But before we do, we have a big interview that we want to announce for you guys. We were lucky enough to be joined by our good friend, Zach Fucale of the Washington Capitals. Obviously, it's been a while since we spoke to Zach. A lot of things have happened since then. I think you guys probably know about his historic shutout against the Detroit Red Wings from late 2021, and he had a son. So that's pretty cool. We chat, catch up, I talk all things hockey and life. It's always fun to talk to Zach, so we appreciate him joining us. Before we give you that interview, we do want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by Brackish Life. Let's take a minute to talk about Brackish Life. If you're like us and grew up on the water and outdoors, then Brackish Life is perfect for you. They have a wide selection of gear from UV shirts to hoodies and hats. It's Real Bay apparel made by Real Bay people. Head to www.brackish.life today to check them out. A little salty, a little fresh Brackish Life. You guys want to toss this off to Zach now?
Sure.
All right. Sounds good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you Zach Fucale.
Well, it's been a while, but he's back for a 3rd time. It's our buddy, Zach Fucale. Dude, what's going on, man? Long time no see.
3rd time?
Yeah, 3rd time.
You might be the
second time go.
I think you might be the first 3rd time guest.
Man, where was the second time go? I forgot about that. That's good, man. Well, Hey, happy to be here. You know that.
Yeah. So what's going on? What's new?
What's new, man? Oh, man. I got a 4-month-old at home now. Came in February, which is really wild. We've been here at our new place in Quebec, up in the mountains here up north. And it's what's new. There is some stuff that's new here because there was a big storm, tornadoes, everything. And there was about 8 trees that broke and fell on our property. So it was last couple of weeks for us was literally about getting the chainsaw out, cleaning up everything. And it's just been physical, very physical lately. But no, it's good to be home. Started training, started going on the ice. That's new. And some cool little things, some cool little projects moving up now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's fatherhood been like for you? I know there's so much we've got to catch up with you about, but let's start with the little guy. How's that going?
Oh, Teo is doing real good. Teo, born February 7th, right smack in the middle of the season, which was really hard. I'll be honest with you. I sympathize with all the other fathers that had to have kids in the middle of the season now. And now you realize what it's like, because it's really, really challenging, really hard. You know, we were with the Bears in between call-ups. I was on the road a lot, and it was challenging for my wife, Karine. And then my family came to support and all that. It was great because we had a lot of support, but physically for me, with less sleep, people who know me know how seriously I take that.
I was gonna say, how's your whoop score
and
look?
yeah, they weren't great. So it really wasn't great. Yeah, Whoop was telling me, what the hell are you doing? But no, it was really challenging. But at the end of the day, man, this kid, it's life changing. It's the best thing. It's the best feeling of all time. It really is. And it's great, man. It's great. Teo's
awesome.
doing real good. He's
You said
doing really, really
he's
well.
4 months now?
4 months,
Wow.
yesterday or the day before, but he's doing really well. We're seeing a lot of great improvements, and you know, he should be crawling anytime now. He's laughing, and it's just great. It's awesome.
Crawling, you know, post to post, you know, whatever comes next.
I don't know. He's a ways away from post to post, but we'll see what happens. He'll be a little slow.
There you go. So a lot's happened, obviously, since we talked to you last.
It's true.
True. Probably top of that list would be, this was a direct quote from you last time we spoke. You said, "I still haven't played an NHL game yet." That is no longer.
That's not true anymore.
That's not true anymore. And the one you played, it went pretty damn well. What was that whole experience like? Let's just dive right into it.
I've a hell of an experience. People who know me well, actually, even people who don't really know me well, know that I'm a man that likes to chat and talk, and I'm a social guy, right? And very social human being. But after that day in Detroit, after my first game, I was really at loss for words. And that was one of the rare times in my life where after everything, that was one of the things I had a tough time explaining how I felt, and tough time explaining how it went down, and tough time explaining the whole experience. That's one of the rare moments in my life that it was really happening very quickly. From the time I got called up to the time I was literally in the crease in Detroit, it happened very quickly. And I remember feeling that I was a little less nervous than I thought I would be.
Do you think the timing helped with that? Just the fact that it was so accelerated?
Maybe that's a factor. But I remember I felt a lot less nervous. I was having a really good start to the season in Hershey, so that's real positive. And I feel like, actually, I think my whole setup is backwards here. Let me see that. Is that better? A little bit. I think that's a little better. So I think it did help, but I just was having a really strong start to the season. I felt good about my game, and I just felt like I was ready at that moment. And I didn't expect to have a shutout. You can't make that up. Like you come into a game expecting to make the most saves possible to win the game. That's it. The most you can do to win the game, that's what I'm trying to do in the game. Absolute limit of what I can do. And sometimes as a goalie, sometimes I just go in, you know, and that's that. But that night, you know, you can't write it any better than that for my first game. It was a shutout. It was on the road. My family was there. Insane, man. It was insane.
What was the energy like in the locker room, both before the game and after the game, just from your teammates on the Caps? What was the overall vibe like?
From the morning all the way to the game, Coach Peter Laviolette he said it a couple of times. He said, "Hey, look, guys, in the meeting in the morning at morning skate, he said, hey, look, like it's gonna be Fuchs' first game. So we gotta be sharp and, you know, play well in front." I don't know if he was nervous or if he just wanted everyone to play really well. But it turns out that he mentioned it a couple times, even before the game, hey, it's Fuchs' first game, so let's make sure, we're sharp and whatnot. And the vibe, I guess, was normal from any other game in terms of the players. It was pretty normal, another game, just like it usually is. But after the game, it was really electric, it was the road game. It was the start of a back-to-back. It was Detroit, Columbus, those 2 nights. And it was just an electric moment. I think I don't think many guys on the team, except for maybe a couple people, knew of my story and what it took for me to be in the net that night. I don't think many guys knew that, but once kind of the story got around, it kind of kicked in a little bit, and what I kind of overcame to be there in that net with those guys. Like I said, it was electric, and I felt that love. I felt that a little bit of recognition and all that. And that's not really why I play. I don't just play for the taps on the back, but that night it felt like people were very genuinely happy to congratulate me and to talk, positively about what happened. That's what I felt. The energy was really nice and electric at the end of the game.
Well, that video of you coming back into the locker room, they gave you what, like a water shower there? That's on the NHL.com commercial now. And they say go to the website, they transition it, and it's you getting dumped on. So that's pretty cool.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I feel like, hey, obviously that's not my idea, but whoever thought about that and whatnot started kind of a thing, because all the 4, 5, 6 other, I think Colgren, he had a shutout in his first game, and a couple other milestone that happened, people were showering with water bottles. So I think the team started a little trend there. I hadn't seen that many times before.
Yeah, no, it was electric. It went viral on the internet, I would say. I also want to ask you, what did your phone look like the day after? Because we're just 3 fans of yours because we've gotten to talk to you a couple of times. Our entire Twitter feed was Zach Fucale, Zach Fucale, Zach Fucale. I can't even imagine what your phone was like.
Yeah, it was wild, to be honest. And I'm gonna say this. I had to take a decision to shut my phone off prior to the game, because they announced I was gonna play in the morning of a morning skate. And once it's just a little bit overwhelming, and I didn't want to have to deal with that. I didn't want to just think about, me, yay me all day before the game, right? So I just shut it off and said, hey, look, I'll have time to deal with this after, whatever happens, I'll have time to deal with it. We'll be on the plane anyway, so I'll have time to deal with it. So I just shut it off, and to answer your question, it was pretty nuts. I hadn't had that to that extent before. I've had a few blow ups on my phone before, but this time it was wild, and it took me a little while to get back to everybody. But I believe maybe I missed a few people here and there, but I do believe I got back to every single person that's sent me a message as a text message or even a freaking voicemail. By the way, I hate listening to voicemails nowadays. Just text me, man. And then Instagram, all those things. I really believe I wrote back to every single person. I may have missed, admittedly, I may have missed, but that's a big point of mine to say thanks for those things. That was pretty wild.
What do you remember about the last 5-10 minutes of that game? Because I mean, speaking for myself, I think I was about 2 inches from the TV for the last 10 minutes, just pacing back and forth because I was so nervous. I mean, what were you going through?
Hey, from what I remember, I don't remember getting many shots. I don't remember that. There was quite a bit of buzzing around since it was only 2-0, but there were a few key moments where I remember a few block shots really close to my right, half just diving for one, Gents diving for one. And I remember those were moments where I was like, man, everyone's pushing for this, everyone really pushing for this. And it was great. I don't remember getting a ton of shots to really answer, but I remember there were some big plays that were made in that game, the blocks and sticks and, PKs. I think there was a few PKs there that we had, my memory may be blurry, but yeah, it was quite the end of the game.
Definitely.
So going on to the rest of the season, I mean, I know that you got another start against Boston. That was just a bad game for the Caps in general. Just put that out there.
Yeah, that was tough. That was
Yeah.
a tough one. And again, I think that's kind of like a learning experience. But in hindsight, looking at it, that was a tough one. Tough game.
Well, you learn from it
Tough
too,
game to
right?
play as a goalie. Yeah.
You learn from it, right? It's just part of the gig, right? Sometimes you get let up.
Well, I'm curious too. I think your second
For sure.
second appearance was coming in relief. A couple months later in January, I think it was Samsonov that had started
St.
the
Louis,
game.
yeah.
Exactly. And I'm wondering kind of how that compares. Totally different vibe, right? From starting a game to like, okay, now I'm coming in. What was it already? I think started the third period or something like
Third
that.
period, yeah. It might have been 4-2 or 5-2 already or something like that.
Yeah. What's
But
that like, just coming into a game and kind of knowing like, all right, my team's kind of down and out right now, but my job is still the same?
yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say that. It's funny you ask that, because I think many goalies will agree on this. Is sometimes it's not that hard to come into a game sometimes, because you're sitting and you're chilling, you're watching the game, you're staying in the game, but you can't like get ready like you're starting every night. I don't think that's possible. Maybe somebody's done it and congrats. I just don't think that it's physically, like mentally possible to really prepare like you're starting every night. I don't think that's possible. That's just my opinion. But that sometimes when you don't start and you get thrown in, you kind of have an adrenaline shot, like an adrenaline rush, where like the goalie coach or the coach says, hey, look, like you're going to start the third. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, yeah, right. Okay. Like you're kind of like taking it. But then once it comes close to the game, you're like, man, I haven't touched the ice in a while. Like you kind of get a little nervous, jittery, but you just get a shot in adrenaline that sometimes, I think it happened that night, it just made me that much sharper. I haven't had any warm-ups, or even, I remember in warm-up, I had barely taken any shots. Like it just happened that way that night, like, so sometimes when you don't start, you end up coming into the game and you feel like really good, like, because you're really sharp, you got that edge. And it doesn't always happen like that, but I just feel like in my career, in my experience, maybe other goalies can kind of like help me answer that. I don't know if you guys want to do a poll on this, but sometimes it happens that way. And in that third period, I felt really sharp, had a couple saves, I think even a couple breakaway saves that night, and it went really well, enough to earn me the next day. So yeah, that's how it played in St. Louis. I was a little nervous because you're jumping in, but at the same time it's like, well, we're down, I have nothing to lose here, I have to just play my game and go from there. I'm not going to revolutionize anything, we're down by 3, so just shut it down and go from there. And turns out I did pretty well and made a few saves.
I was going to say the not that you have nothing to lose, but just going out there and just focusing on doing your job and knowing what you have to do. Does that help take some of the pressure off of you when you get put in a situation like that?
That's definitely part of it, because like you said, when you get thrown in, sometimes unless there's an injury, the odds are you're down a couple goals. So it's like, I can't score, so I might as well just play as hard as I can and apply my stuff as best I can to give a chance. And that's what you're trying to do, right? And so that, combined with the nothing to lose mentality, combined with the shot of adrenaline you get from being thrown in, odds are you're going to do pretty well, I find.
That's really interesting. And then the next night, obviously, I think it was the very next night, you ended up starting against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Another great game, held them scoreless through 1, and that was good enough to earn you the record for longest shutout streak to start an NHL.
Yeah, that's still unbelievable to me. I'll be honest with you. It's and I, that to me is unbelievable. Like, even I now talking about it, I find it hard to believe that that's happened to me. I don't know. I sat down with Scott Allen when I got back to Hershey a couple nights after, and he said, "Hey, look, you know how many goalies started in the NHL?" I said, "No." I said, "Zach, do you know how many goalies have played 1 minute in the NHL?" I'm like, "Scotty, I really don't know." I didn't really know where he was going with this. He goes, "But none of those guys started their career the way you started your career."
Hell
That's
yeah.
great.
And it's wild how we put it, but it kind of put it into perspective how wild that how crazy that is. And
Yeah.
yeah, it is an NHL record. I'm hopefully it stays there for a little bit. But hey, those things are made to be broken, but we'll see what happens.
Well, you earned every part of that record, and I think you would agree with me on that. So well deserved.
I don't know, man. Sometimes things just happen. I don't know if I deserve that, but it's really irrelevant. It just happened the way it happened.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So how'd the rest of the season in Hershey go afterwards? Why don't you talk about that?
I feel this is how I feel my season went in Hershey. A really strong start and a really strong finish as well. I felt like the end of the season was really good personally. In Hershey, we had every guy on our team would agree that we had some stretches in the season where we really had a tough time scoring. So that was hard, for all of us to go through. And as goalies, sometimes that's a mental challenge. But again, to answer your question, I feel like it was a really strong start to the season, really strong ending to the season. But in between, there was a lot that happened in my life, and there was a lot that happened throughout the season that I had to go through. And I'm not particularly happy with my consistency during the season. But again, that's something I learned. I learned a lot from that, and I went through it because there was some really great moments in that season. And now moving forward, after having kind of an up and down season, good start in the middle and then good at the end, I have to come back with a good off season so that next year, you put everything together and you have a nice consistent season all the way through, and turn it up a notch. So that's my focus moving forward. But yeah, that's how I feel it went in Hershey last year.
What are some ways you keep yourself focused and motivated during the season like that? You mentioned that there was some stuff you had to go through in your personal life, and just, stuff happens left and right. You can't really do anything about it. So how do you maintain that positive headspace?
That's a good thing. I haven't really spent much time thinking about this past season, but how you stay positive and throughout all these things, no matter what I went through. Usually it's about always keeping your eye on something bigger than just like last game or like, oh, it was a shitty game last game. Like, oh, how do I stay positive? Like, the main thing usually is to always keep perspective of what's going on. Like, it's never as bad as it seems, and it's never as good as it seems. You know what I mean? Like, it's usually somewhere in the middle there. And as human beings, we tend to kind of over dramatize things, like, you have a couple bad games, you think you're having a bad year. Well, it's really not reality, like, it's something you kind of created in your mind. So I think keeping perspective on how things are going is really important for you to stay focused on your overall goals and where you're heading and your development and how you're actually playing the game. If you're really not focused on a day-to-day and you're not really playing the way you want to be playing, then there's a problem there. It's there's a problem there. But if you're doing the right things, you come to work and you're disciplined and you're consistent in how you work, you shouldn't really be worried about a couple mistakes here and there, because you're really doing the right things, and over time that's going to come back. It's always going to average out. So to me, to answer your question more clearly, sorry, but is to make sure that you're consistent in the way you do things and how you play the game, because at the end of the day, those things always come back. Whether you have a little bit of slump or you're like on a tear, for example, like this season, I had a streak where I had 3 shutouts in a row. Well, on the opposite end of your question is like, you know, you got to keep your focus even in those situations. Doesn't mean you had 3 shutouts in a row all of a sudden. Okay, oh, I made it. Okay, well, hey, look, like you have to continue to go, because the very next night, I'll give you an example. After I got a shutout in the NHL, well, I got roasted for 7 against Hartford. You know, so you have to always keep it in perspective where like, hey, I'm doing the right things here. You know, good night, bad night, you come back and you stay positive and you keep working the same way. Yeah. So to answer your question, after about 18 minutes of me talking, you got to make sure you continue to play the same way, no matter what happens. If you trust your stuff, you keep playing the same way. Okay, I'm done.
Consistency. I like that. Yeah. So obviously the Caps don't get the end of the season that they want. We all know that. But have you been keeping up with the NHL playoffs at all?
I have. I've been following it. I mean, I go to bed a little bit earlier now, boys.
Yeah. Understandably.
Probably up a little bit earlier too.
Well, I'm always up early though. I'm always up early. That's always stayed the same. But I am trying to go to bed a little bit earlier because, you know, obvious reasons. But I've been keeping up with it. I know what's going on, and man, it's been wild. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna end. I really don't. So, anything you guys want to add on that? What's your take on what's going on? I know you guys are big bettors. What's going on here?
I don't think you want to ask us about making bets. It's not going well lately. But I do want to ask you something that I've been thinking about for probably since the start of the playoffs now.
Wait, so before we continue, I wasn't asking for betting advice. I can't bet on the game.
I know. We know.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just
good
making fun. Yeah, I didn't think you were either.
I don't do those.
So we've got Igor and Vasi in the conference finals in the East, right? You got 2 Russian goalies. Is there something that Russian goalies have like a tendency to do that like maybe North American goalies don't? Is there any of that in their play style?
Man, this question goes too deep in the goalie world. I just know that this matchup is like, it's Reese's Buttercups, you know, for me. Like it's an unreal matchup to watch. Igor and Vasilevsky. Like, I think those guys are going to be the face of goaltending in the NHL for many, many years. I think so. And just to continue my analogy, Reese's Buttercups, I love those. So I just love to watch those types of matchups. And like I said, those guys are going to be good for a long time. So to have kind of a benchmark now, and maybe they're going to meet in the playoffs, you know, next year, a couple of years down the road, and see that again. I don't know what Russians do, man. But overall, their skating is a huge strength in both of those guys. And other than that, there must be some other thing, because just Russian goalies come in and dominating all over the place. You know, you got Bob, you got Sorokin, you got Igor, you got Vasi. I mean, there's probably 5 more. I'm not saying right now, you know, like,
right. Yeah.
It's all over the place.
The kid down in Carolina.
There you go.
What's I can't remember his name. He was slashing Marchand in the playoffs. Yeah.
That was pretty bold. Bold strategy.
What have you made of the, I guess, goalie interference frequency in the playoffs? Like, it feels like someone's getting ran every night. I mean, I would say other than New York and the Lightning, it feels like every team's played 2 goalies at least.
Yeah, that's it's good observation. I feel like the game's played real like faster and faster, and in the playoffs especially, it's like it's tighter and it's faster. So sometimes, you know, there's just, I guess it's a control thing where everyone's trying to just push the pace, push the line, push the limit of how fast they cut the net, or you know what I mean? Like, everyone's trying to really push the limit to gain an edge and score or get around someone that, hey, sometimes you lose control when you're trying to push the pace, push the limit that much in the playoffs. I I don't like to see goalies get run, I don't like that, but I feel I'm not really surprised to see it given what I just said. Like every single guy on the ice is trying to push the limit and pace and like the physicality to a level, maybe they never been because it's the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's possible that's a reason. I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong, but it's possible it's like that.
Nick, Mac, anything else?
Home for the summer, back in Quebec. What are your plans? Are you just taking it easy? Got anything big planned with the family at all?
Summers are never just taking it easy the whole time. It's never like that. We're gone most of the year. I took my 3 weeks to a month kind of off. After the season was finished, I took an extra week in Hershey at our place down there, and then we came home because we had a little kind of renovations coming over here, so we couldn't really come back. Anyway, let's not get into that. And so I took my 3 weeks off completely, then kind of slowly came back into it, and this is my first full week of training, and I'm starting to get on the ice, touch the ice a little bit, get some shots, feel it out, and so now the plan is really set for me moving forward. So now this is where it kind of gets a little hectic, where you're juggling training and ice times, but also family time, and you want to make sure you schedule barbecues with your friends and catch up with everyone, and you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's never just you sitting back, relax, okay, but thankfully we have a nice little cottage here, kind of a cottage home, where we do get to have that kind of every day, where my wife and I, we sit outside, we have a cup of tea or a glass of wine and whatnot. We really wind down and enjoy. But the summer is filled with lots of training sessions. You go see a few specialists here and there. Tuesday nights we got the pro league and all these things, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on. In the end, it's always everything I do in the summer for the season. That's like everything I do is planned to get ready for September. That's what I got. And if it's in my personal life, then I'm planning for it to be in order for when September starts. You know what I mean? Like, it's everything. That's how I am. That's how I'm built. I don't like to just chill. I already did the month of chilling. Now I'm done with that. We got to do stuff.
There you go.
I think last summer, and you just mentioned something about Pro League, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you had some Living Sisu camp or you had scrimmage. What was that all about?
Yeah, well, last year we were trying to make sure we kept the Pro League going. Yeah. That's been going on for 5-6 years or in the city. But with the COVID restrictions, it was shortened, and no people could come watch, but we kept it going. We kept it alive. So that was last year. But this year, we took it to another level where Living Sisu, my business there, we're organizing the men's league and the women's league. We added the women's side where we're going to do 3-on-3 at Hockey Etc. in Montreal for 7 weeks. It's going to be full stats, leaderboard, all that. With the women starting this next Monday, the 13th. And on the men's side, we're going to be playing in July, starting in July for 7 weeks. So that's it's fun stuff. We have that going. I helped organize with the rest of our little team there, and that's it. So that's exciting stuff where we have some good 3-on-3 scrimmaging, 5-on-5 as well will be added, and stuff like that.
Is that invite only, or?
Well, the goal is to have
a mess
show.
I gotcha.
That's the goal. And so sometimes you have guys, I can't go, I'm on vacation, so then we the best players available play in the league usually, and that's the goal there.
So guest passes or media passes, that's
guest
not
passes. Oh, you guys could come and hang out, and if that's what you're asking,
I've never been to Canada. I gotta go.
Own a passport?
Yeah, I got one.
So then you can come watch, man. You come have a couple beers, watch the game at the bistro, of course.
If this is an official invite, I accept. We accept. Yes, we'll be there.
Yeah.
So
perfect. So Monday, Tuesday night, back to back, you come watch the women's league and the men's league. You'll have a great time, guaranteed.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Before we wrap up here, what are you looking for next season? Like, we know obviously you had a breakout year this year, right? You get the shutout, you get a couple NHL starts under your belt. So what's the goal coming into camp this year and this coming season?
Yeah, for me, it's take another step in the right direction. You know, my first year when I came in the organization, I feel like I've really put my foot down with the season I had a couple of years ago, and then this year with a little bit of the NHL experience, I feel like I took another step in the right direction. So for me, you know, I feel like next year's another one of those years where it's, hey man, the door's open. You have to take that step forward, and that's my goal. To like I just told you, everything I do in the summer is to prepare for that moment and to prepare for me being consistent throughout the whole season, to really not just pushing the door open, but really knocking that door down, so I take the next step in my career. So that's my kind of mindset, kind of goal that I set for myself. And it's exciting because it's going to be a big year. Really excited about that.
Yeah, I think the opportunity is there, and I'm sure you'll be well prepared when the time comes. But we appreciate you joining us for the third time. Like I said, first guest, that's a 3-timer, so that's a big honor. Definitely appreciate
I'll
your
do
time.
4 or 5 times, no problem. You guys come back. You set me up. I'm there.
I was serious about the coming to the camp, by the way. Like that.
Yeah. It's not a camp. We just call it the Summer Pro League, where it's 3-on-3, 5-on-5 on Fridays. But yeah, you guys come down anytime. It's easy, no problem. You're gonna love it.
That would be fun. And this year, we're definitely coming to Hershey if you're there. But if you are in Hershey, we got to see a game.
Definitely.
Then hey, look, again, that's probably even easier for you. And easier for me too, because I'm just gonna be there. So that's great.
Yeah. Nope. All right. Well, we appreciate it, Zach. Thank you for your time and good luck next season.
Thanks, man.
Let's have a good night.
Big thanks to Zach for hopping on with us. Always a good time to catch up with him. And it's just crazy to think how much has happened since the last time we were able to have him on was. I mean, NHL debut, NHL record, baby, you know, just a whole bunch of stuff going on in the Fucale house.
Super fun. Yeah. Thanks to him as always. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome just seeing him kind of react to that stuff in live time. Like, I love asking that dude questions and just kind of seeing him like really think about it and be like, damn, like, yeah, that's a good question or whatever. And just kind of starting to unpack some of the crazy things that have happened in his life, both in hockey and off the ice recently.
Yeah, definitely.
If you think it's crazy how much has happened since we last spoke, think how crazy it is since the first time we spoke.
Right.
That's kind of nuts.
My gosh.
We were the OGs on the Fucale wagon.
Yeah,
like for
some
real.
Guy who was like, yeah, I hope I get to play in the NHL someday, but who knows? Like,
he was in South Carolina, just signed in the Caps organization. Fast forward 2 years, and here we are. It's wild.
So in like 3 more appearances, it'll be like, wow, I really wish I could have 2 more Stanley Cups than I already have. Like,
yeah. It'd be like, so how was it like leading the Caps to Cup final and winning the Conn Smythe in the year 2024? You know, that's
and
so
scoring
awesome.
the overtime winner as a goaltender.
Wouldn't that be something, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if that happens,
you'll buy a Caps jersey.
Yeah, that's an EB bump for the ages.
If that happens, you have to buy season tickets
to the Caps. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
All right, deal. If Fucale wins, yeah.
And a Caps Fucale jersey and get it signed by him and wear it to like every Caps game.
And go to at least 25% of home games that season.
I'm signing off on all of this if Zach wins the Conn Smythe as the Cap starter and they win the cup. I hope it happens. I love Zach. I'm happy for him.
To be clear, him scoring the game-winning goal part is not.
No, I'll cut you the slack on that.
No, then he has to do it for life.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's lifetime. Mac, I'm gonna let you take over this next segment because I find this one kind of funny and I feel like you definitely wrote it.
Yeah. You know, it's time to give the Rangers their proper adieu, you know, their proper obituary. And, you know, I will be the first to say I am impressed with what the Rangers did this year. I hate the Rangers. I'm impressed with what they did. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it, but I am going to sit here and celebrate the fact that they're no longer in the playoffs because I don't like them. And I think that we all three can probably rally around that cause right now, you know, like, can I get a little woot or something?
A
Yeah.
big woot woot.
Yeah, I would woot woot that. That's
I would
a
Okay.
big
woot
time
the
woot for
shit out of
sure.
that.
Good. That's what I'm talking about. So, couple other things to note. I mean, they had a great run. I actually, for a few minutes, believed they were going to do this thing. Like when they were up 2-0, I kind of was like, holy fuck, are the Rangers going to win the cup? And I'm glad that we're not pondering that anymore. But am I the only one that like actually really believed for a minute? Or did you guys kind of know they were frauds the whole time?
Dude, I thought they were going to do it even when they were down 3-2. I was like, they've done it every series. I was like, this is going to be no different.
Right.
They just ran dry on offense. They really did. Igor played his dick off. You got to give him credit.
He did.
But I think I read they've scored one even strength goal in the last 200 minutes of the series or something like that.
Yeah, I read that too. There was definitely some problems that just we clearly weren't quite in full force yet. But the only other thing I kind of want to get to here before we really break down this cup final, what did you guys think of some of the coaching decisions from Gerard Gallant going into Game 6?
Real quick before that, I will say last thing about the Rangers is I think a lot of people who haven't been writing about hockey for a while or talking about it that are now talking about it got a little bit prisoner of the moment when they went up 2-0. And it was sort of like, this is still too early on in this movie for it to be this easy kind of thing. You just could tell there was something off with Tampa. You know, everyone has bad games every now and then. And this is why this team won 2 Stanley Cups in a row. They came right back and won 4 in a row against the Rangers after dropping 2. So coaching wise, I think it would be a huge mistake for the Rangers to do anything coaching related. I think Gerard Gallant has proven that whatever he's got is working. For whatever reason, other teams don't want it. Vegas, that's still a huge question mark. Why they fired a coach after taking him to the Stanley Cup final, I will never understand. But I don't really think the Rangers have anything to be concerned about coaching wise, but there's some huge names out there this offseason that are definitely going places.
Well, there are. And I think that, the news is coming out now that the Rangers have had their breakup day, as Forever Blue Shirts would call it. Kakko was scratched in Game 6. Questionable decision there by Gallant. He was less than pleased to say in his media closeout today. So I wouldn't be shocked if somehow they move Kakko, just because I feel like, he's been in the league. I think this is his 3rd year now. Granted, there were a couple COVID seasons in there, but
he was the second pick when Hughes was the first, right?
Yeah. And I just don't think that he's really a fit there, in my opinion. Like, he's supposed to be a top 6 guy, and I don't think there's a whole lot of top 6 room for him over there.
I had a Rangers fan buddy of mine who listens to the podcast a lot. Shout out my guy, Tim Sampson, Calvert Hall alum. But he was telling me, I was like, yeah, getting ready to record the pod for tonight. And he was like, I don't want to hear you guys say the words Capo Caco. And I was
Capo
like,
Caco.
Capo Caco. Capo Caco, Capo Caco.
Yeah. I think with this, it's also a case of they need to move someone because they are going to be so screwed when they have to give Laffy big numbers. And they've got a couple other big decisions. Igor's a big one. Foxy's a big one.
Well, they're both signed.
Fox got paid. That's right. Kravtsov, they just signed today, I believe, to a 1-year extension.
People forget Igor signed a deal last year. He's only worth like $6.5 million for the next 4 seasons. It's crazy. Like probably the bargain of the NHL. If we're being honest.
Did forget that. You're right. Wow.
Is Miller signed?
I was gonna say I don't know if Keandre signed, but whatever he's getting, if he's due soon, he's gonna get a hefty pay raise for sure.
And isn't Lindgren like 5x5 now or something like that?
I have no idea.
Is he that high already?
I thought like they signed him. I could be completely making this up, but I thought it was earlier in the season. And then we were like, this is so weird. Why is this so high? But
kind of works out. Okay. There's only 2 other little kind of rumor things I want to discuss real quick before we get to the actual meat and potatoes here. But one of them is this coaching roulette situation that we're going to eventually have here. I know the Bruins have specifically said they don't want to hire someone from the coaching carousel. However, I also heard that they're like talking to Barry Trotz and like a lot of the other guys from that coaching carousel. So we'll see. Who do you guys want? Are there specific ones? We don't have to go through every single one, but are there specific coaches that you guys kind of want to see in certain places or do not want to see in certain places?
I think Barry would be very comfortable in a place like Winnipeg or Arizona, you
Yeah.
know, just
Yeah.
Like that.
not anywhere on like the eastern half of the
Do
country.
not give him to Boston or Philadelphia. I will lose my shit if Barry Trotz is the coach of the Bruins or the Flyers. I will lose my shit.
Barry Trotz to the Flyers to me just sounds like 4 cups in like 8 years. I don't know why, but it's just
God. No,
like
I'm more worried about him with the Bruins, honestly.
really.
I think he could take that team on a fucking tear.
Oh
Like
god,
they seem
damn
like
it.
the type of team to like buy into his like bullshit, like tough guy strategy and like just hunker down and torment the league for like 3 years. I definitely think that I would much prefer, like, I love you saying Winnipeg for him, because just get him the fuck out of here and I don't have to worry about his like menacing like coaching ways. Although I will say I thought he was going to be much more of a threat with the Islanders, and credit to him. I mean, they were a threat for a couple of years there, but
Yeah, back-to-back conference finals now.
right, totally.
At first I thought like, maybe Barry, he's a guy who doesn't move around a lot. He's only coached 3 teams, and when he was with Nashville, he was there for what, almost 20 years or something crazy. I
That seems
thought
like
he'd
other
be-
Barry.
if you watch Archer, you know what you know. God, that's gonna throw me off. I thought he'd be a nice calming force for a chaotic organization in Vegas, but then I thought to myself, there's no way Jack Eichel or Pacioretty or Theodore, there's high flying offensive guys are going to want to play in such a defensive structure.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to happen. I think Winnipeg would definitely be a good fit. If you don't say Torts and Philly, like, listen, Torts a good coach.
I kind of want that, honestly.
Like, fits the brand so well. Like, I don't want the Flyers to be good. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I like Torts, and he fits the Broadway bullies. He just does.
Torts and like Kevin Hayes, like, oh my god, bro.
Yeah.
Did he coach Hayes in New York?
No.
You would have to go back and check. Maybe one of our Rangers fans that
or was that Vigneault?
Let us know, but
it might have been.
I'm not
I don't
sure
think Hayes was there yet.
off the top of my head.
Yeah, I have no idea.
If the Knights hire Trotz and following Gerard Gallant, they've gotten Pete DeBoer, who single-handedly ended them in 1 power play, and then Barry Trotz, who beat them out for a Stanley Cup.
Power play, holy shit.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Music to my ears.
David Quinn also, by the way, stinks.
Yeah.
I don't think he should coach anywhere.
Really? I like David Quinn a lot. I think he'd be good.
I mean, I'm being harsh, but like, I don't know. I've heard a lot of like slander about him, and just for whatever reason, I've jumped on that bandwagon.
I think he would be good in the Iser plan. I could see that working.
Ooh.
Okay, sure. I could see him. I am curious to see who goes to Detroit, because I really like that team, and I see
where
so
Blashill goes.
much potential in Detroit. And it's whoever they choose to coach that team is going to make or break that franchise. And you already know they're going to pick the right guy no matter what. Like,
I saw a lot of people saying Torts there. He would just turn Sider into Chris Pronger 2.0.
I don't think I would want that for Jacob Vrana's sake.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that would be crazy. I'm rooting for the Red Wings, but look out for them because they're coming.
The Red Wings, like, hockey's better when the Red Wings are good.
Yeah. Yes.
I would probably agree with that.
All right. One more quick thing. There's been a lot of talk about goalies, and, a lot of teams need goalies this offseason. We're not going to talk about all of them, but one that I think we should talk about, because I think a lot of our listeners might want to hear what we have to say about it, and because I personally want to talk about it, and because I've seen a lot of this today, specifically on Twitter. John Gibson, he just kind of gave the okay to Anaheim to move him if they want.
You want me to translate that?
Trade me.
Please get me the fuck out of here right now.
Yeah. And so basically, the Caps need to sign John Gibson. They need to find a way to get John Gibson.
It fits. I mean, that would
the Penguins need to get John Gibson. What are you talking about?
I know he's a Penguins native. This is why I wanted to bring him up, because we're like playing tug of war over this guy right now. But like that's what the Caps need so badly right now. John freaking Gibson.
That would be so cool if they had an American goalie. No offense to the goalies they already have.
No, I know,
like,
but just that would, in the U.S. Capitol, we get
Yeah.
an American goalie. That would be wild. It's been so long.
How much
It's been a thing?
The asking price is going to be enormous.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. I don't know how much teams are willing to go.
Well, there's really one way the Caps could do it, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm not going to say it out loud.
Say it.
No,
you say Backstrom.
It's if Backy packs it in and has to.
Well,
I don't even think they'd want him and I no disrespect to Backstrom, but he's like hurt all the time.
Here's the thing. He could like take a whole year off if he wanted to. Like he could just go on like long-term IR or something like that and take a whole year off and then try to come back. And if it doesn't work, then whatever.
True.
It's like, sure. But like there's a lot of options where he goes away. Where he goes away, but he isn't gone forever necessarily. And we can still reap the benefits of him not being counted against our cap type situation.
True.
Like, so I'm kind of rooting for something like that to
like
happen.
a half season overseas.
Yeah, where we can just like put him like on like the shelf for a second,
take our problems and push them somewhere else.
It's kind of like a credit card, you're like, I'm going to worry about this later. And then I'm going to bring in all this fun, good stuff. And then in like 6 months, I'm going to be like, oh, fuck, I have to still pay off that.
It's like when you have cash in your wallet, you don't have to use your card. So technically what you paid for is free because nothing came out of your bank account.
Exactly. Yeah. I did that earlier today.
Big brains over here.
Anyway, John Gibson, future Washington Capital.
I think he goes to a team that's good, that's in need of a goalie. Teams that come to my mind, the Caps come to mind.
I don't think the asking price would be as steep as you may think it is. He's about to turn 29 in like 2 weeks.
What do you think? Like a 3x6?
Well, he's already signed.
He's signed.
Oh, okay.
You got to trade for him. He's got like 1 or 2 more years on his deal.
I think he's making like $6 million or something.
That sounds right.
But
I don't know. Listen, you can disagree with me. I think he's going to cost a lot. I do. I think Toronto's going to go after him.
But he's going to be one of the better one available too.
Can't Anaheim retain some cap too? They probably can.
They could. They could.
But I think it's going to be a seller's market for them because there's going to be like 6 teams who desperately need one.
I could see him going somewhere, and for like the first year, Anaheim retains like a good chunk of that, and then like after that they don't, or something like that. I can't remember how many more years he's signed for.
Call me crazy, and this would be like one hell of a move for this dude, but Buffalo.
Oh my God.
I don't know about that one.
I think he's going to go to a contender. If he's leaving, it's because he wants to go like actually have a chance to win somewhere.
I think Washington, Toronto, and Vegas
Pittsburgh those are 3 too. Good I'm not going to lie. He might want to come home.
He might, and that wouldn't bother. I mean, Jari
was he?
I don't want to beat this dead, but Jari's good enough. I'd be okay if we kept him, but I wouldn't mind Gibby.
Nick, this guy thinks Tristan Jari is a good goalie.
The orb, the radius is expanding.
Yeah,
to that other city.
Well, I don't understand what the problem is. He was hurt all year, so he was hurt. Had he been healthy, we could be having a different conversation right now. Maybe I would be previewing a different series right now, but I guess not. So
whoa.
Whatever.
If a frog had wings, he wouldn't bump his ass when he hopped.
All right. Speaking of previews,
let's get into the previews. This is getting off track.
Right, come on. All right. Let's start off with the values here. We just pulled them up. We've got Bolts at plus 150, Avs at minus 180. Can we talk about how ridiculous this is? That the fucking 2-time Stanley Cup defending champions are plus 150 to win the fucking Stanley Cup.
It's ridiculous. And it's also your best bet for like the next month.
Put money on this. And if you lose, don't regret it because that's a good bet.
That's a smart bet. Yeah. This is disrespectful. I would say if you made Harry a lines maker, I would say that Avs would be like minus 140 at max, maybe minus 130, and then you get
how are the Bolts not at least even?
I don't get why
plus 120 range, something like that.
Is it just because they have home ice advantage? Because if so, that's stupid as fuck, bro. That clearly has not mattered for the Lightning at all this postseason. They haven't had it yet, and they've won every series.
I'm gonna throw this at you guys, and it sounds crazy. Like this, but you're not thinking about it. The Avalanche have lost 2 games.
Yeah.
They're in the Stanley Cup Finals. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's insane. Like, I know it's not the Lightning, but they've literally lost 2 games.
Wait, you're right.
I know.
They're both to the same team. Holy shit.
Yeah, they're like I know we're like kind of like saying this is disrespectful, but the Avs are like a wagon. Like, not saying Tampa isn't.
That actually just kind of blew my mind. They've lost.
Yeah,
They've lost 2 games
They've
in the
lost
last
2
like
games.
what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
month and a
Imagine
half.
being an Avalanche fan right now. Like, obviously, you guys know as Caps and Penguins fans, like how much a playoff loss like hurts and stings. You're like, fuck, like you're thinking about it for the next like 48 hours until the next one starts. You're like, God damn it. The Avalanche fans have only had to deal with that twice. They're just riding this freaking high.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of goes back to what I discussed last episode, where they really have not had to face much adversity yet. So, like,
Very true. They've also had 8 days of rest following that
Mhm.
Predator sweep and 9 days of rest following their most recent sweep of the Oilers.
I might load up on the Lightning for game 1, honestly, because if you're thinking about it, we talk all the time about how teams with the rest, it doesn't help. Teams that just came off of like an actual intense series, it does help. You've got the Lightning who have played very well on the road so far. And I could see them stealing game 1. I could see that being the way that this series starts out.
This just breaking from ESPN. The game 1 average ticket price for Lightning versus Bolts is the highest average Stanley Cup Finals ticket since 2010, when the Flyers and Blackhawks squared off. The average ticket is $1,050.
Oh my
God damn.
Lightning versus Avs, by the way.
What did I say?
Lightning versus Bolts.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Lightning versus Avs. Sorry,
All
but
good.
yes, game 1 in
Yeah.
Denver, $1,000 basically just to get an average seat, which is kind of wild. But yeah, I mean, here's what I think. I think Colorado's the better team. I think Lightning have the better goalie. However, I've bet against the Lightning in every series for the past 3 years. I said last time I wouldn't do it, and then I bet the Rangers. I was like, fuck it.
Seems like you've lost
whatever.
a lot of money in the last 3 years if you bet a
Yeah,
lot against the
yeah.
Lightning every series for the last 3 years.
I don't actually, when I say bet against them, I don't bet money against the Lightning every series, but I pick against them. So to clarify. However, and I'm going to jinx them, and I'm sorry, but the fact that they're going to get Braden Point back and they just beat the Rangers without him, and the Avalanche don't have Kadri yet, as far as we know, that's kind of like the X factor for me here. Is like, I think Tampa's going to have more depth now that they've got Point back, and they just beat the Rangers without him. So I'm going to end up taking the Lightning, I think, which I don't really want to do, and I don't really want to see, if we're being honest, but I really can't pick against them. I look like an idiot.
And you can't be mad either. At this point, it's just damn impressive what they've done. You almost have to just sit back and go, all right, like, I hate this and I don't necessarily love you as a hockey team, but this has just been great to watch. Even just making it this far is absolutely insane for them.
And can we also talk about the fact that I saw this, I think it might've been Puck Empire or NHL Discussion or something. One of them posted that, either way, whatever happens, whichever team wins here in the Cup final, one of the final will happen. Either the Lightning will three-peat, or Corey Perry will have been in the Cup final 3 years in a row and lost 3 times.
Wow.
Or Pat Maroon would win 4 in a row.
Right, exactly.
God
Either
damn.
way, Corey Perry was on the Stars and the Habs last year.
You're right.
And
it's
now
also
he's on the Lightning.
It's also a matchup of I forgot to say that at the beginning, the team, the Avs, that have been the Cup favorite going into the season the last 2 years, against the team that actually won the Cup the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's also fair.
Yeah.
What are your guys' picks, and kind of give me like, a sentence or two about why you're picking them.
I texted you guys my reasoning in the group chat the other day. I am going to change my pick now. I am going to go Bolts in 6 while wearing an Avalanche jersey.
Damn, when you just said you were going to change your pick, I thought you were going to be like, I'm all in on the Avs. You're rocking the jersey.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what you said. So
I was going to wear my Nordiques hat today on the pod, but I purposely didn't, because I was like, I don't think they're going to fucking in. I want them to, but this is kind of this is win-win for me, because I've put a little bit of money on Bolts to win it and on Stammer and Vasilevsky to win the Conn Smythe, because I think all three of those bets are well worth your bottom dollar in terms of what you would actually make. I think all three of those bets are being highly disrespected right now for how likely any of those three are to hit. However, it's win-win because either hopefully one of those bets hits or multiple of them, or all three of them miss and the Avalanche win the Stanley Cup. And that's awesome because I would love for the Avalanche to win the Stanley Cup. I don't think they're going to. I think I have Bolts in 7, but I did mention when I texted you guys, I was like, maybe 6, but I'm going to say 7 just for the fun of it. I would love another game 7 in the Cup final. There's nothing better than that, but it could be 6. I don't hate that pick, Nick.
Well, I think the one thing that we also need to discuss too is who's going to start game 1 for Colorado and net. We know that Kemper got hurt last series and that he was eventually the backup, I think, in game 4, but
Which
you
would
got to
signify that he's healthy, right? We're assuming he's
Right.
healthy now, but
I think that might have been a let's play really, really safe with a 3-0 series lead here.
Yeah. Yeah. The hard part for me is like, it's easy to like forget goaltending because you get so caught up in the offense and then McCarr and Hedman.
yeah.
And it's just like, dude, Vasilevsky's that dude. Like,
How is Vasilevsky going to
He's
lose
the
a
best
playoff
player on
series
his team.
to Darcy Kemper / Pavel Francouz? No disrespect to either of those goalies. They're both world class, but Vasilevsky's on a different fucking level, man. The only person I could see him losing a playoff series or a Stanley Cup final series to is like maybe Igor, who he just beat, or maybe like Patrick Waugh or Marty Brodeur in their prime or some shit, but that's not possible. So like,
yeah, it's Vassy, dude. Like,
yeah,
McCarr and Taves, they're gonna do their thing, and like I think Tampa's gonna struggle trying to get by them or even get the puck from them rather. And like I think Colorado is just like, if Kadri comes back, I give him the edge too. But it's Vasilevsky. I can't bet against him. He's too good.
I have a good question for you guys. Are you riding overs or unders for most of this series? Like, how do you see this thing going? Is this going to be a
good
high scoring
question.
thing, or is this going to be like a low ball affair?
Can you get the over under for game 1? I don't.
Yeah, let me see if I can get that.
I'm not going to touch it for game 1, and whatever happens there, I'm doing the opposite for 2.
That's a good strategy.
Okay.
If lines maker Harry, I haven't looked. I'm going to say it's 6.
I don't think. Do they even have it up yet? Oh yeah, they do. It's
Yeah, they
6.
should.
You're right. It's 6, and it's.
I have a problem, ladies and gents.
Oh my god! It's over 6 for -115 or under. Excuse me, under 6 for -105. So basically the same.
What's Colorado money
Just
line?
call
for
it
game
even. Come on.
Colorado money line, and this is crazy to me. Colorado money line for game 1. Okay, what does oddmaker Harry say? Colorado money line
-180.
-163, and Lightning are +143 game 1.
Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, take that bet.
Ooh.
Take
It's
it.
a good bet.
I think the Lightning at +143 to win game 1 of the fucking Cup final. They're the defending Cup champs for the last 2 years, and they just came off a 6-game series. They have not had that much time off. They're rolling right now. Momentum is like with them.
Yeah.
+143. That is great value for something
That really
could
is.
totally happen.
Yeah. I don't know, but the over under is going to be, I think, 6 like almost every game because these two teams have the ability to bust it open. But
Yeah.
then you got to factor in Vassy and like,
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go Tampa in. Can they win it on the road in game 7? I guess they could. I'm gonna go Tampa in 7. I'm gonna go Tampa in 7. Mac, you had what? Tampa in.
Tampa at 7, 6.5.
And Nick, you had Tampa in 6,
I had
right?
Tampa in 6.
Okay, we'll get the lowdown on what Big J has. I think I think he might be the oddball.
Can we make a graphic that says Mac has Tampa in 6.5 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can do that. We'll make it work. Couple stats worth noting before we wrap it up here. The Lightning, they've got 2.41 goals against per game in their 16 postseason games so far. That's the best of any team remaining in the postseason, aka the Avalanche. And then the Avs, McKinnon, he's been on a tear. He's got 18 points and leads Colorado with 11 goals through 14 playoff games this year. And their power play is clicking at 31%, which is absolutely bonkers. Yeah, so we're on the Tampa train.
They've had
Hard to
something
bet
like
against them.
45 power plays so far this postseason. It's absolutely insane.
Who? Colorado?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've only played what? 4 is 8 and 6. They played 14 games.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild when you think about it. Anything else you guys want to add? I mean, hopefully we get another Epi in before the series is over. I would hope
Conn
so.
Smythe predictions hit me.
I think that
one from each team.
okay, that's fair. Let me pull up the odds too, so that we have this.
I'll start.
Yeah.
It's Cale Makar for me from the Avs.
Yeah.
And yes, the odds are absolutely dog shit. So I wouldn't recommend betting this, but I
He's
don't see
gonna
who
get
else,
it.
unless McKinnon has hat tricks in like 3 out of the next potential 7 games. I don't see him losing out on this trophy.
Makar plus 130 currently, for those wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would Makar's if the Avalanche win the cup, there's no universe where Makar does not win the Conn Smythe, in my opinion. He's
Also,
declared
just want to be inclusive for those who don't know. Conn Smythe, MVP of the postseason,
playoffs.
basically, and it rarely happens. Rarely that the winner of this trophy is from the team is not from the team that just won the cup.
Yeah.
So there's been a handful of players.
I can only think of the Jaguar one. That's the only one I remember.
I can't.
There's few and far between where it gets awarded to someone who didn't just win the Stanley Cup. So
Very true.
basically, you're trying to pick somebody that's going to be on that cup winning team, and then look at that cup winning team and who you think was the most important in that whole postseason run.
And
Harry,
I think
what's
it's, oh, go ahead.
What?
I said, Harry, do you have a formal pick, or you're also saying Makar, or?
If the Avs win, it's Makar, and if the Lightning win, like it's probably going to be Vasi, but I could see a world where Stammer comes up and gets it.
I think
could
he's
see
the
that.
only other one really that's an option, and sort of like what I was saying about McKinnon, he would have to have a monster like cup final, like overtime winner, maybe like a hat trick or something in there.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me because I saw a lot of lists today online of like Conn Smythe picks, and everyone was saying like, oh, Tampa Bay, it's either Vazzy or Kucherov. And I'm like, to me, it's Vazzy or Stammer. I don't think that, I mean, Kucherov, but again, here, like, let me just read off the odds here. Most likely from either team, plus 130, Cale Makar. Next on that list, Nate Mack, plus 165. Next on that list, Kucherov, plus 300.
He is having, points wise, he's having a great postseason again. And I think he's like on pace to beat his career high in playoff points or something. So I'm sure that's where that comes from.
Vasilevsky is also plus 300, but then you got Stamkos at plus 800. I had to take this bet.
Yeah.
I had to. Stamkos at plus 800 to win the Conn Smythe. It's so likely. It's so possible that this could actually happen.
He's also like exponentially getting better as these playoffs go on.
Right. Like all he needs to do is score like 3 or 4 goals in this cup final, and the Lightning win. And I think it's his. Like
he's been having some big timely goals. That's kind of what gives him my vote over Kucherov. Like,
right.
Yeah, Kucherov's playing out of his mind in terms of production, but like, and I could name more than one, but I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like the Game 6 winner against the Rangers, right? Like on that break, where like it's those big goals. That's that captaincy that I just feel like he's bringing to the table this year. I will say, Vasi at plus 300, I would hammer the shit out of that.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, seriously. If the Lightning win, it's kind of hard to believe it wouldn't be him. Again, what we said, barring any insane like hat trick performances by either of these other two guys. Worth noting, the lowest one that they have on here that you could still place a bet for on our book, at least, you could bet Pavel Francouz to win the Conn Smythe. Odds makers, what do we got?
Plus 2,300.
Plus 10,000.
Plus 3,500.
Wow. Oh God. Wow. I went off the board. Well, it's also like, is he playing? Like, I guess I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like that's so high because, and again, to translate, you could place a $10 bet on this and win 350 if it hits at plus 3,500. But basically, you're betting on A, he's going to be the starter for them in this series, and B, the Avalanche are going to win, and you'd probably need him to pitch like 1, maybe even 2 shutouts in that span to like make that happen. So
Or give them a chance to win.
wouldn't recommend, but it is interesting to look
So
at.
I got McCarr, and I'll go Vassy. Nick, you have McCarr and
Same.
Vassy.
It's
And
you can't pick against them.
I mean, I'll say McCarr and Vassy. However, I will say the best bang for your buck in any of this that is
go with
realistic,
Stammer.
Yeah.
Stamkos at
Yeah,
plus 800.
go off the grid. I like
and
it.
and
I
that's
like it.
coming from a guy who put not a lot, but just a little bit of money on that because it's
Yeah.
worth trying to see if you can hit that because it's a totally plausible bet that could hit.
And conspiracy theory Harry here, but I feel like when you're the captain, there's that little bit of like they just want to give it to you a little bit more.
Right.
And
And
where is he
factor
from?
in the fact, yeah.
That's right.
What?
Yeah.
Where's he from?
Who? Stammer?
Yeah,
Is he from he's from where Jordan Stahl is, isn't he?
he's
Or
from
no?
Toronto.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
Oh, yeah, that would make
it's
sense.
over. Give it to him now.
Yeah, you're
But
big on that.
I also think it's just one of those things where it's like he also like look at his whole story. Obviously, that's not supposed to factor in, but it kind of does in a way where it's like he was kind of not a part of the first one. He was a part of the second one, but it wasn't really like a real like they're about to win their third cup maybe, but the first two people are already shitting on them for how they didn't count in their own ways. Like this is a big one for them. Believe it or not, like this, like they want this one maybe more than either of the first two because this was a semi-normal ass year that nobody can dispute.
Yeah, this one is like this one's a big fuck you to everybody who like doubts them or like shits on them. Like, yeah, I agree.
And
the
they
Montreal
know
one is bullshit because there's no world where you should be playing somebody in your own conference for the cup final. And the first one's bullshit, obviously, because it's a bubble and Dallas. What the fuck? Dallas made it there. Like, come on.
I'll say that the second one I count as like legit. The bubble one, like, yeah, it's legit, but like there's so many different things that go into that one. Like, it's kind of wild.
To be clear, I also think it's all legit, but I'm just trying to like play devil's advocate. Those are the reasonings why some people doubt it. So
to be fair, I think it's only fair that we do address it as its formal name, which was the Bubble Bowl. But
Bubble Bowl, yes.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Last little bit of news: Buffalo Sabres announced they're going to retire Ryan Miller's number, and Mikko Koskinen, Mac's favorite goalie, is leaving the Edmonton Oilers, and there's rumors that Mike Smith will be retiring. So we'll see.
Can I just say that I saw a post earlier today that was like Mikko Koskinen, and it had like a 2-year like signing thing on it because he just signed like a 2-year deal with whatever team he just signed with in Switzerland. But or no, not Switzerland. Where was it?
Yeah, Switzerland. Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, when I first saw that, I thought that it said he signed a 2-year deal with the Oilers. And I was like looking at this and I was like, are they fucking stupid? Like, what the fuck? I actually had like a breakdown briefly. Granted, I had just woken up. I was like scrolling Instagram and I like had a head fog for a second because I was like, you got to be kidding me. They did not just re-sign this guy.
Yeah. Last thing, I can't believe I didn't mention this team when we were talking about John Gibson. The Oilers have to be in that somehow. Like, if they're not, I'd be mad at them because they desperately need a goalie. They desperately need a goalie.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
We'll see. Someone to join McCambridge.
Oh, man. Do we even go there real quick before this ends?
There's really not much to like. There's not much to say, but everyone's gonna know. There's a video of McDavid where he was completely shit-faced walking through the street with a chick that wasn't his girlfriend, and it's all over the internet. I mean, we're not newsbreakers here. So
my thing is like people are so weird. McDavid doesn't even post on his Instagram very often. The last picture of him and his quote-unquote girlfriend, who is a blonde woman, by the way, was from like the holidays, like Christmas or something. So who's to say they're not even together? Everybody's just like, oh my God, he's cheating. It's like, yeah, maybe he is, which whatever, that sucks.
Could have been a bottle waitress.
Like, I don't know, dude. Like, it's just the internet. People are weird. You know what I mean? Like people are just like jumping. Like I went on McDavid's Instagram today and found that picture from like December of him and his girlfriend. And there's people today like dozens of them commenting, being like, "Make cheater,
So
blah blah blah."
sad.
You
It's
suck.
so
It's like,
sad.
what are we doing, bro? What
Yeah.
are we doing?
Our society
leave the guy
blows.
alone. Dude.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
our
it's
society
just-
blows.
And I'm not trying to defend him either. If he is like whatever, like
No, I know.
maybe
It's just like
maybe he did something wrong. I don't know, but it's not even my business. It's just like I don't care.
he's
Whatever
a good
he did.
yeah. He's a good
He-
guy. Like he seems like a good guy. I say this as this could be bad, but like he seems like a good guy, and like he's pretty private. Like just leave the dude
It's
alone and
not
let him
even
deal with his
that.
personal
It's like
shit.
good guy or not. He just clearly doesn't post that on. It's like whatever. Yeah, maybe he either did or didn't cheat on his girlfriend, but that's just what. Why do I actually really have an opinion about that?
Yeah, like why
don't.
do you? Yeah, like exactly. Anyways, if you see McHammered trending, you got the story now. So there you go. Any final notes before we wrap up here, fellas?
It's my second favorite McDavid video. The first one is him going back into the Erie Otters locker room and just screaming the word "fuck" at the top of his lungs.
Yeah. That
No,
someone tweeted that as a response to the video.
Yeah.
Dude, the response is holy shit.
Only other thoughts I have is please go buy some merch. There's also some more cool stuff coming soon, and you should buy that too. But go buy a Marg Mac shirt. Hit me up if you do, and I'll send you a little something special. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, go ahead and buy that. Buy the Big Meaty Sauce shirt. That shirt is amazing. Buy Harrison's Blue Agave. Buy it all.
We've got Tampa gear. We've got Colorado gear.
Yep.
I know we've got a couple Colorado fans who pulled trigger on some shirts. Hope to see that at the arena.
Buy the EB trucker hat. Are you stupid? You don't have that yet? Buy that. It's the best hat ever. I lost mine. I need to buy another one. I don't know where.
Damn, that's
I have no idea. I haven't
Losing your
seen it.
favorite hat is the worst.
I haven't seen it in like a month. I don't know how I lost it. It was
I lost
literally the
mine
hat
too.
I wore like every day, and it's just gone now. I don't know what the hell. I need
So-
another one.
I had
Go to-
two, and then Cam stole my other one. So
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right. Go to www.emptybetters.com. Click on shop. You can find all of our merch there. Also, go check out Kane Footwear. These bad boys right here. Best shoes in the game. Use the link in our social media bio to help support us. And a thank you to Sharp
Brack
Brink.
Life. Go
Yeah,
buy that
Brack
too.
Life. And thank you to Sharp Brink for sponsoring all of our gambling activity this season as we head into the finals. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate the love and support as always. And without further ado,
class dismissed.